my story. Before that, first and foremost, I would like to give praise and honor to the Almighty and loving God who has created me, for giving me the grace of a new lease of life again, made possible through the many wonderful people that He has brought into my life, and for this amazing medical device that has brought restoration of my body to good health again. I would like to honor each and every member of my family for being the pillar of my strength in my journey to recovery. To the many good friends and doctors, and most of all, I would like to mention two very special people. My angel, Christy, who introduced me to this amazing medical device, and to Mr. K.G. Lin, the CEO of Ventros, who really helped me to the journey of recovery. May God bless all of you who have journeyed with me. Thank you so much. That's my family here, and they all meant a lot to me. They have really been a pillar for support for me, and you know, it's every parent's dream to see that we grow old with our children, that we will be able to see our grandchildren and maybe great-grandchildren too. I'll share with you my journey. In 2013, at the end of 2013, I discovered that I actually had cancer. It was a nightmare for me, and I questioned, why me? Why does this happen to me? Well, I can't blame anyone. It's because I have not taken care of my health. I was actually diagnosed with third end stage cancer. The doctors say it's third end stage, maybe to make me happy. I actually had 3 surgeons operating on me: the colorectal surgeon, the gynecologist, and the vascular surgeon. It was a 9-hour operation. Some of my organs went off, my ovaries, the womb was taken off, about 12 inches of my lower colon was taken off, and also 24 lymph nodes that was attached to the main arteries that lead to the heart were sliced off the main arteries. And while doing, because it was a very delicate operation, the cancerous infected lymph nodes was actually stuck to the arteries, and they had to really carefully slice it off. Out of the 24 lymph nodes that was sliced off, 21 was infected. I was in the ICU for about 5 days, and you can see from the picture that I had tubes all over my body. It was actually the longest day in my life. It's not really nice to be in the ICU. And so sometime after my operation, when I was better, I went to seek a few oncologists. I even went down to Singapore to seek opinion as to what treatment I should do. Prognosis for me from all the doctors was very not good. And in fact, I should not be alive today. But I'm still alive today because of the grace of God, and because I believe that this fantastic medical device has brought back good health to me again. I've seen and journeyed with a number of people that had cancer, and they have gone back to the Creator. And getting cancer is not a very nice thing. It is, you do not know what lies ahead, what is tomorrow. And my wish is actually to see my children get married and have their family, and to see grandchildren too. And today, I'm most fortunate to have a grandchild. You can see it from the picture. And for me, I love traveling a lot, and it gives me the opportunity to right now, that I can travel, but of course not now during this COVID pandemic. After sometime in February, I actually had chemotherapy. It was a 6-cycle chemotherapy. On the first day, I would check into the hospital and do an intravenous chemotherapy, which would last almost half a day, the whole day, and I would return back at night. And the next 14 days, I would be on oral chemo 3 times a day. I would stop chemotherapy for a week and continue on again. And after the chemotherapy, I had actually 30 days of radiotherapy. The radiotherapy is actually focused at the rear end of my body, in that sense, where the anus is. It is there that they did the radiotherapy, and this really affected. It dries up my vagina. It dries up everything at the bottom there. It really cooks and dries up, and it's not really a good feeling. And because of this, I actually could not control my bowels. I would rush off to the toilet at least 17, I counted, minimum is 17 times a day. Maximum is 20 to 30 times a day. And I find, I can't even go to anywhere very far because I would need to rush to the toilet. I have also the difficulty in controlling my urine. It's not a good feeling. And because of the chemotherapy, the severe chemotherapy that kills all the good cells and the bad cells in the body, it also affects the vital organs in my body. And as a result of that, I actually lost the feelings of my feet. When I walk, I cannot feel the ground at all. And of course, my hands too is always numb because the nerves, most of the nerve in the body is malfunctioning or have died off. So sometime in the year 2017, my very good friend Christy, actually, she was very excited when she saw me, and she said, "Come, Angela, I want to bring you to listen to something really fantastic." And she says she thinks it will help me. I went over to the Ventro's office, and at that time, I remember it was one of the directors that did the new vocabulary test for me. And he asked me, am I on chemo drugs? He doesn't know me. And I said, yes, I had chemotherapy before. And he says, he can hardly see my capillaries, which is true. The hospital can't even draw blood out of me because of the chemotherapy, it has all shrunk and hardened the vessels and the capillaries that I have. And while he was explaining on the integrative medical laser, I was doing the therapy. And guess what? I fell asleep when he was doing the presentation. It was actually the integrative medical laser that puts me to rest, to deep rest, so that my body can start healing itself. I left the office and I told Christy, I'm so afraid to use this, because as cancer survivors, we are really so afraid to use anything that we do not know. I started on a journey of doing a lot of research. I asked doctor friends, specialists. Most of them do not know about this, about the study of the low-level light laser. A fraction of them says, yeah, they have heard of it. And I went into research papers. The second time when I went to the Ventros office, Christy actually arranged for Mr. K.G. Lim, the CEO of Ventros, to do the presentation, the explanation of this wonderful medical device, the scientific explanation behind this device. When I listened very thoroughly, carefully to him, and at the end of the presentation, I asked Mr. Lim, what shall I do? I'm so afraid. And Mr. K.G. Lim said, Angela, just use it. It will help you. I really clung on his words that this medical device would really help me. It is, after all, non-invasive. It's only using light to let our body heal itself. And after using the medical device for just 3 weeks, I was telling Simon, hey, I can now feel my toes when I'm walking. I can feel the ground. It's such a good feeling. And eventually, I do not get the numbness anymore in my hands. I do not get tired anymore on my feet, because most of the time I can't sit too long, because the blood would not just flow down and I have to stand up. And those feelings just disappeared. Because of the condition of my prognosis, I actually went on medical leave for 1 year. I stopped working for 1 year because I have to always rush to the toilet, and I can't go for meetings, and I can't, really drive too. And I thank God that I got better, and I actually quit my job. And I actually quit my job, and every 3 months I have to go and see the doctor, both my oncologist as well as my surgeon, and they would do a thorough check on me, blood tests, and sometimes to do the scans to check that everything is right in my body. And my cancer, all the cancer markers in my body is very, very low, and it's even lower than any ordinary people. And for my CAE cancer marker, it is 0.8. Ordinary persons would be 5. So this is really, truly fantastic. And my last medical checkup was almost about 2 years ago. Now I have to go back and see my doctors, but I still do my blood test every 3 months. During my last medical checkup, my surgeon told me, "Congratulations, Angela. Everything is so well in your body that he would not be seeing me for the next 2 years. So in this January, I'll go back and do a review and do a colonoscopy again." So it is actually this integrative medicine, the cold laser medical device, that has actually helped me. And I would like to share a bit on why it has helped me, why it has brought healing to my body, or rather letting my body heal itself without taking any medication. The cold laser technology, the IMLASER, it actually has low-level therapy, which uses non-invasive light source treatment to stimulate production of ATP, ROS, and nitric oxide in the body through photobiomodulation. And you have the ancient Chinese acupuncture, which is non-invasive acupuncture to the 361 meridian points in the body. And we also have the magnetic therapy that helps in pain management, and it also enhances the blood flow. Cancer cells are very afraid of oxygen and fast blood flow, and so they would not thrive in this condition. One of the very important components, or one of the very important chemicals that the low-level laser therapy will help our mitochondria in our cells to produce is the adenosine triphosphate, which is actually the cell energy. The process of ATP production determines the level of cell repair in the body, the cell regeneration, and the cell bioavailability, assisting in maintaining total cells balance. And that's how, because of the increased ATP that my body is producing, it helps me heal itself. Another important chemical that we need in our body that is produced by our mitochondria is the nitric oxide. As I was sharing that, because of the chemotherapy, it really affected a lot of my vital organs in the body. And so I believe that it is still healing my body. And nitric oxide is very important for the cardiovascular system. It opens the blood vessels, and our blood cell health depends on it. And it also is in the nutrient exchange for the cells. It also looks after the respiratory tract, the metabolism, cell proliferation. It reduces cell death, and it encourages new blood cells to form. And it also helps in immunology. So it regulates our immune system. And for the peripheral nervous system, it promotes the promotion of body's natural rest state. When we sleep at night, it actually helps us to sleep properly. And the central nervous system, it helps in the pain management, and also it regulates our blood pressure. And it also looks after our gastrointestinal tract. It enhances metabolism, and also for the it's important for the nutritional absorption in our body. And also, nitric oxide is also very important for sexual health, for the male performance as well as female performance. I would like to play this video for you. It really tells about the importance of nitric oxide.
In a young, healthy person, they have good blood flow, good circulation. There's no plaque buildup. The arteries are flexible and pliable, not rigid or stiff. The heart functions normally. But as people age, nitric oxide production decreases, and the consequences are severe. Arteries become stiffer, more narrow, constricted, and plaque builds up. Circulation and blood flow decreases, limiting oxygen and nutrient delivery to every cell in the body. Blood pressure and fatigue increase. Sexual function decreases. Normal stem cell functions are lost. Inflammation increases. Cognition and memory decreases, increasing the risk of Alzheimer's. Basically, every function in the body works less efficiently. But technology exists to reverse these effects, to restore and repair normal nitric oxide production, and provide the best outcome as you age. By choosing to restore nitric oxide production, arteries become healthier, plaque in the lining of the blood vessel is removed, your circulation improves, heart function improves, blood pressure normalizes, sexual function improves, normal stem cell functions are restored, cognitive abilities improve, everything works better. In order to restore and fix the underlying problem of nitric oxide deficiency, you must first understand how the body makes nitric oxide. There's two ways the body makes nitric oxide. One is through the utilization of L-arginine through the enzyme nitric oxide synthase. But the older we get, and based on lifestyle conditions, this enzyme becomes dysfunctional. So over time, we make less nitric oxide through the nitric oxide synthase enzyme. And in this case, giving more L-arginine does not create more nitric oxide. The other pathway is dependent upon diet and the conversion of nitrate to nitrite to nitric oxide. In the mouth, nitrate is converted to nitrite by natural good bacteria. When saliva is swallowed, the acid in your stomach converts nitrite to nitric oxide. However, when people use medications like antacids, the nitrite to nitric oxide conversion is completely shut down. And when people use mouthwash, antiseptics, and antibiotics, the bacteria is killed, shutting down the nitrate to nitrite conversion. Proton pump inhibitors shut down this conversion too, but they also decrease nitric oxide production from the nitric oxide synthase enzyme, L-arginine, the production of an inhibitor called ADMA. In other words, in addition to the natural decreases that your body would see as you age, most of the people in America have this pathway of nitric oxide production completely shut down. So the challenge has always been, how do you fix the nitric oxide problem? If your body can't make nitric oxide, you need product technology to do it for you. And you need to restore and repair the ability to make nitric oxide naturally in the body. There is technology to fix the dysfunctional nitric oxide synthase enzyme. In fact, it recouples the enzyme and makes the body's ability to generate nitric oxide in the lining of the blood vessel better from L-arginine. You need product technology to restore steady-state concentrations of nitrite and the ability to produce nitric oxide from nitrite that's independent from stomach acid production. In short, you can overcome the loss of nitric oxide production with age and the use of antiseptics, mouthwash, antibiotics, proton pump inhibitors, and other lifestyle choices that shut down nitric oxide production. Nitrate products such as beetroot or green food supplements typically don't work. Most people lack the bacteria and the functional pathway to create nitric oxide from nitrate. L-arginine products don't work because without fixing how the enzyme couples, more L-arginine won't create more nitric oxide. It will create more oxidative stress with even further consequences, reducing nitric oxide production, causing further damage to the body. It's important to understand how the body makes nitric oxide and how lifestyle, daily practices, and drug therapy can interrupt nitric oxide production and put your body at risk for the many diseases characterized by the loss of nitric oxide. After all, how can you correct something if you don't know the cause? By eliminating practices that disrupt nitric oxide production and/or using products that have been shown in clinical trials to restore nitric oxide production, you can help ensure your body has what it needs to generate this critical molecule. Nitric oxide biochemistry is complex, even for experts in the field. With nearly 2 decades of research, hundreds of publications, I know nitric oxide. We, the scientific community, know how the body makes it. We know what goes wrong in people that can't make nitric oxide, and most importantly, we now know how to fix the underlying problems and restore nitric oxide production. Once you fix these nitric oxide production pathways, it leads to better cardiovascular health. And once you restore the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to all cells in the body, everything works better.
The answer is actually the integrative medical laser that we have, that would help the body to produce the nitric oxide that we need. If you look at this picture here, if you look at it, at the age of when we are in the 20s, the production of nitric oxide in our body is 100%. When we reach the age of 50, our body only produces about 35% of the nitric oxide that is needed. And by the time we reach 60 years and above, it is about 15% or less than that. And this is a worrying part. And in our 60s, the aging process, partly reflecting the withstanding move of more than 100,000 heartbeats a day, contributes to the attack on the lining of the arteries. If left unchecked, plaques can rupture or erode, leading to blood clots that can cause heart attack, while an overworked or scarred heart increases the risk of heart failure. If you look at people around us these days, there are so many people, even young people as young as 20, in the 20s, they would just collapse. Why? Because the body do not produce enough nitric oxide. So the answer actually, if you're worried about clogged arteries, about not just having, not for heart health alone, but for the whole body, we really need nitric oxide. And for us who have been using the IMLASER, this is the answer to good health.